I'm out here exploring the high deserts of Southern California after a huge record-breaking snowstorm. And I thought this would be the best place to go over my year on the wrist with my Rolex Explorer 2, reference number 226570. Now, if you haven't seen my other videos, this watch is an intricate tool in my photography, as I use what's called a technical camera to get the highest quality images possible because we print really big. But that means that technical camera, nothing on it's automatic. So I actually have to use my watch to time my exposure. So that's how important this piece of equipment, this tool watch, is to me. And my other videos, I wear this thing everywhere. It's been a year on the wrist now. And geez, probably 365 days a year, I probably wore this at least 340 of them. Now, wearing this watch for my photography and all these travels I do, it's been dinged up pretty good, but it doesn't show the dings too much. As you can see here on these up close images, the scratches are there, but if you just look at it like you normally would a watch, you don't really see them. And again, this watch has been dropped, dinged, it's been pretty beat up. And speaking of all that wear and tear and getting beat up, this watch is still extremely, extremely accurate. I'm very impressed by it. It is about a quarter second fast every day. So it's pretty much day accurate. And the great thing about it is that since it is fast, every 2 or 3 weeks, all I have to do is just unscrew the crown, pull it out for a second or two, push it back in, and it's back on exact time. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I never really thought about that it's better for the watch to be a little bit fast because you don't have to reset it and all that stuff. You just pull out the crown, push it back in, you're set again. And that toughness and ruggedness of this watch is really kind of actually endeared it to me a little bit, if that makes sense, because it's so impressive to me that beating the hell out of a luxury watch that is still quote unquote a tool watch. I fully believe it is a full tool watch. The comments say otherwise on my channel, but I have beaten the hell out of this thing and it's still that accurate, a quarter second fast a day. That is incredible over a full year. Beaten up, cold weather, hot weather, it doesn't lose accuracy. And that's what's really, really, really impressed me with this watch. And knowing I can put full faith in this watch, it will not let me down in any condition. But as well too, it's a luxury watch. I can wear this to a high-end event, a fancy dinner, a gallery unveiling. I can wear this watch anywhere. And again, that's why it just endeared itself to me. It does everything. And knowing if I take care of this watch, it's going to be reliable for decades, 40, 60, maybe even longer than that. And the romantic side of me loves that I can either pass this down or have it for an incredibly, incredibly long time. As you can see behind me though, the weather's starting to come in, so I might need to move into my tent for the rest of this update video, but let's see how it goes. It's all part of the adventure, right? Okay, the weather is upon us. We had to move into the tent, kind of a snowy / rain out there, kind of a slush. So let's enjoy one of Kentucky's best and go over, we still have some positives, but let's go over the negatives here real quick of this watch. Or you call them negatives, I'm nitpicking here. The sound looks to be okay. Hopefully you're not hitting all the rustle of the tent. Oh God, that's good. That just warms you up, doesn't it? Okay, one of the negatives, reaching for negative here, was, and you've noticed now that I have different strap. I love this strap. There's another blue one you've seen in my other videos. I'll put the link in below for that one. This one I actually got when I was in Taiwan. Hopefully I can find the website for it. If it's not in the link below, just email me or contact me. Then hopefully I'll find it sooner or later. It was actually pretty cool. The craftsman actually had to custom make this to fit my Rolex Explorer 2. So it's kind of a special strap to me. But the reason why I'm putting different straps on mainly is because the one negative of this watch is that it was so noticeable. Everywhere I went with the steel band, the oyster bracelet, everywhere I went, people were stopping me, and I had a minor issue, nothing big. This weird kind of squirrely guy kept asking me to try it on. And I just like, no, I don't know you. And anyway. So I thought, okay, let's make this watch absolutely perfect in a different way. So I added a different strap to it. And I love this strap. It's not nearly as noticeable. Since I've had these straps on, no one has commented on the watch. No one's asked me about it. So now you got all the best of the Rolex without people thinking it is a Rolex. And that's been very nice. And I just, also too, with these kind of lighter straps, it's a little bit easier to wear around, especially under heavy clothing. Also too, these are easier to sleep in now. I don't have the metal band on my wrist because when I'm camping like I am now, I sleep with my watch on. Everything, I just leave it on. It's really starting to get windy and rainy. Okay. The other negative is with the crown itself. When I unscrew it, like I talked about earlier, for the hacking seconds, just to hold it to catch up with exact time, because it's about a quarter second fast every day, sometimes it gets a little stuck, and that's really the only other issue with this watch. I mean, it's really perfect, but again, unscrewing this, it kind of gets a little stuck. I kind of have to force it out. I'm not 100% sure where the hacking seconds function is when you pull it out to its 2 stops or 3 stops. When you pull it out, it gets a little confusing, but again, maybe I do this once, maybe twice a month, so no big deal, and it doesn't always happen. That's it for quote-unquote negatives. I mean, it's so minor. This watch has been, again, amazing this whole time. But before we get into the more positive, I have to go break off an icicle. I need some more ice for my Kentucky's Best. I will be right back. Okay, back to the positives, the many positives from the Rolex Explorer 2. Now, thank you so much to this viewer. I was always a little hesitant about the 100 meters, 330 feet water resistance of this watch, but as you can see in his video here, I'll put a link, and there's a meter here too to show how deep he went on this shipwreck dive. So this is really impressing me even more with the Rolex Explorer 2. It is really up to par, and you could actually dive scuba with this watch. Other pluses, the lume hasn't diminished at all. It's only been a year since I've had the watch, but you can see this side by side when I first got the watch and now. The lume is still incredibly good, and even just doing sunrise this morning here when I was out getting Mobius Arch, if you've heard of that, I was able to look at my watch at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when the wind started and woke me up. And the lume was absolutely beautiful. So the lume hasn't diminished in any way, shape, or form from when I got it. That brings up another good point, and I'm sorry the weather's getting really bad here. That brings up another really good point, though, about this watch I wanted to touch on, because I get a lot of comments saying, you know, Rolex aren't true tool watches, you need a G-Shock or a Garmin or something like that. And just being out here, actually in the wilderness, it's not as simple as that. The Rolex works on motion. The more I move, well, not even the more I move, just by moving charges the watch. Just right now, I have a Garmin too, just for GPS, just kind of keep on my wrist, just if I'm going somewhere I don't know. It's dead, and with this kind of weather, I can't charge it right now. As well as, you know, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but the G-Shock 2, the solar. First off, before I get to the solar, the battery power, you know, especially in cold, if you have to have a battery in your watch, they always die, especially if you're in the cold a lot like I am. And G-Shock has that great solar, but it's not nearly as good as motion. It just isn't. It really isn't. But I've had G-Shocks, you know, being out here camping, snow camping and everything like that, die because they don't see the sun for 3 or 4 days, 5 days kind of thing. Here we go again. The Rolex itself, all I have to do is move and it'll tell time. Yes, I understand that the G-Shock and the Garmin has a million other options for what it can provide me when I'm out shooting and stuff like that. But I just need something on my wrist to tell the time. And that's what the Rolex does so well. It's 10, 100 times more expensive than, you know, G-Shocks or Garmin's. It's so reliable. I just need that second hand. And the Rolex does that really better than anything else. And again, it could go anywhere, high-end party, freezing cold weather out here, and it just does its job. and it'll do it well for decades upon decades, and very, very few products could say that. I still believe the Rolex Explorer 2 is the ultimate tool watch, hands down. The G-Shock, Garmin, like we've talked about, there are others. Great watches. I own 2 of them. Dead right now. And so they're not, I can't use them right now. Yes, if I organize a little bit better, they could be charged, but the Rolex you don't have to think about. And that's the huge difference with just the motion. And that's what keeps me coming back and always wearing the Rolex instead of the Garmin or the G-Shock. And for you out there who are please, I love to read your comments. Please leave them below, but please be constructive. I don't want to hear any more G-Shock is the ultimate tool watch. I'm out here camping and dealing with sub-zero temperatures, 50-mile-an-hour winds, well below freezing, snow, rain, everything. And for me personally, out there, this is my job. This is using the best tools that I think are available, and I do pick the Rolex Explorer 2. If you disagree, please feel free to leave a comment below. I love going back and forth. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please hit subscribe, give us a like. It really does mean a lot. Also too, if you want to see more of my photography side of what I'm doing, I got an amazing shot of Mobius Arch in Lone Pine, which we're at right now in the Alabama Hills. Feel free to check out my website at www.shanewalls.com or contact me if you want more information about the photography side of what I do. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Cheers, and I apologize for doing everything in intent. I'm doing my best. Thanks again. Cheers.